tanto jugando suelto como en competición. Tanto si se trata de un rápido 9 hoyos o de un gran 36. Tanto si juegas bajo presión o arrasando, siempre das lo mejor de ti. Nuevo Fuel de FootJoy.
Justin Thomas, the 2017 PGA champion, is joining us at the 104th PGA Championship. Justin, you made the voyage to Tulsa earlier this spring to play Southern Hills, I assume, for the first time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Give us some of your thoughts.
I loved it. I thought as soon as I came here, I came Monday last week with playing Byron Nelson, and I loved it as soon as I saw it. I mean, I just like the old school type of design and golf course, you know, tree lined, big fall offs and runoffs on the greens, and the Bermuda grass makes it very difficult to chip, so it puts a premium on, you know, having different techniques and different styles around the greens, and also puts a premium on ball striking to where you can hit the green where you have to chip less. So I think this is an unbelievable major championship venue, and yeah, I'm glad glad it's here. This is a sweet place.
Very good. Thank you. Question on mic number 1, please.
JT, we talked at the Masters about how you felt like you'd underachieved in majors up to this point in your career, and then you had kind of a strange tournament with the opening round and then fighting your way back for a backdoor top 10. What are you looking back on that week at Augusta? What do you take from that?
I mean, I take a lot of positives. I was, I think, pretty far back as an understatement after the first day, and it just was one of those kind of freak days where I just couldn't, you know, just woke up not really into it. Just had a very hard time getting focused, and but at the same time, you know, I got to be better at finding a way to get in that zone and get in that focus, and I just didn't do it that day. And you know, it's hard to win any tournament, let alone a major or the Masters, shooting 76 the first round. And I fought back really well, played really good round of golf on Friday, and then again on Saturday, and just kind of scraped it around on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, if it was looking at the week as a whole after Thursday, it was a solid week. As a whole, it is what it is.
And last week you were up near the lead, making a bunch of birdies, but you didn't win. And I almost wonder, is that better before a major to not have to deal with kind of everything that comes with winning, but to have a week like that boosts confidence?
I'm not sure. You know, I usually don't play before majors, so I'm just trying something different this year for this. But excuse me. I don't know. I'll let you know Sunday.
Question on mic 6.
Justin, with the PGA not being here since 2007, the course has obviously changed a ton since it was last year. But with the senior here last May, did you reach out to anybody who may have been here to maybe ask for some advice or anything with it being your first time playing here?
I didn't. I probably should have done that. No, I did not.
Question on mic 13, please.
Hi, JT. 2 questions, if I may. Firstly, obviously surreal to have a major championship without the defending champion here. Do you have sympathy for him, or do you feel he's a big boy, he's made his own bed, he has to lie in it now?
I don't really have an opinion. I mean, I'd never wish bad on anybody. It's just I'm here to try to win a golf tournament and try to win the PGA Championship, and I think it's going to be an unbelievable venue and a great week. Regardless, I mean, yeah, it's obviously a bummer for him, but I don't feel very strongly one way or the other. I'm just here to take care of business.
Secondly, what do you envisage the end game or the best possible outcome of this whole Saudi situation being? Rory said a couple of months ago it was dead in the water. He's now admitted he maybe jumped the gun on that, but it's clear that Greg Norman isn't going to go away quietly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm very content with the direction the PGA Tour is going, and I think it's just continuing to get better and better very quickly, too. And I think a lot of players feel the same way, which is very important, and we have a lot of loyalty to the tour. They've done a lot for us, and I mean, that's the thing. We've all said, yeah, things could be better, but, you know, it's the same thing as if you went and played that. Like, you would want things better anyway. Like, why wouldn't we all want things better than we have it? I mean, so, I mean, I'm not sure what the end game is going to be, and I think a lot of people very similar to myself are just kind of ready for it to happen or not, and just us to stop answering questions about it.
Mic 8, please.
No, 7.
Up 7, sorry.
I'm not ready.
Hey, JT. I was just watching you hit all different kinds of wedges on the range yesterday. It was so cool. And I'm just curious, like, has that always been a big part of your practice? And if not, like, has that been something you've been, like, working on in recent years to improve on?
I mean, I shouldn't say always. I've probably the last handful of years, I've liked working the ball more. I feel like it's very situational. I mean, you get a soft week. The greens aren't very fast. Working the ball doesn't benefit or help that much. if you get a week like this week where if these fairways get firm, you're really going to have to work the ball to hold a lot of fairways, or work the ball to hold the greens and working the ball up the slope and whatnot. But I mean, it honestly was just the first time I played competitively with Tiger. I just asked him, and I was like, you know what, we've played a lot of fun golf together, but that was the first competitive round. You know, what do you see? And he's like, you got to move. You don't move the ball enough. And for me, that was like all right, well, he's pretty good, and he said that I should probably try it.
That's awesome.
Mike 5, please.
Hey, what happened?
Justin, welcome to Tulsa. Glad you're here. You've had the opportunity to see the golf course now a couple of times. What stands out to you, or are there certain holes or sections of the golf course that stand out to you? And what, in your eye, or what do you anticipate you'll have to lean on in order to win this weekend?
I don't know. It just seems like a place where you can't fake it around. You can't, just kind of slash it around off the tee. I mean, the Bermuda grass makes it very difficult to control your distance in terms of approach shots into the green. You never know what you're going to get with the weather in terms of how firm and fast it's going to get. But, I mean, if it gets firm and fast, this is going to be U.S. Open-like. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a challenge, but a good, fair challenge. I think the PGA, at least from what I've heard, I haven't been on the golf course. I just practiced a little yesterday, and I'm going to go out this afternoon. From what I've heard, they haven't pressed the greens, which is smart from the amount of undulation and slope that's on them. For me personally, I think it's going to be a big week for driving. I think if I drive the ball well, I'll have a really good chance to win. And I mean, obviously, any major, scrambling and making those key up and downs and par saves is always crucial.
Mike 3, please.
What's the specific challenge of Bermuda rough?
I mean, just a chipping or full swing or what?
I guess both irons and then chipping too.
It's like anything. It's just judging the lie. And then once, if you have the technique and you judge the lie, then you should be able to execute how you think it's going to come out, especially around the green. I mean, when you have a fly or lie, there's times where, I have a 7, 8, 9 iron, and I feel like I can just hit it as far as I want. I could hit it. I could kind of chip it and land at 160, or I could, kind of put it middle of my stance and really hit down on it steep and let it jump up in the air and fly at 200 or 210. Like, it's just, but a lot of that is like the rest of your game is controlling it and knowing when to use it, when not to use it, and just playing smart. So, I mean, around the greens is tough as well. You just have to, you got to practice it. It's one of those things. It's, I mean, I remember we had a kid from Ireland come play at Alabama, and he hadn't played a lot of Bermuda, obviously growing up in Ireland, and it was tough for him. And I think people that don't play in Bermuda a lot, it is difficult to learn.
Behind me on 8.
I realize you get asked a lot about when you're going to win your next one, but is there any part of you that thinks back and having won one at an early age, nice to get that out of the way in terms of people who are now getting looked upon as when you're going to win?
Yeah, I mean, I sure as hell would rather have 1 than 0. I totally understand what you're saying. It's a lot harder to get the second than I thought it would be, I think, internally. I think not as much pressure externally, but just on me, it's like, I mean, obviously when you win 1, to get to where you want to go, you have to win the next one. And, when you get on a little bit of a drought, it can be frustrating, but I'm just trying to stay patient and understand that a lot of great players with unbelievable Hall of Fame-like careers have multiple major winners, haven't even won one till they're 30 or 35. And it's like, you never know. One year I could win 2, 3, 4 majors in a year. Like, I just have to be patient and just hope it happens sooner rather than later.
Just as you observe kind of the landscape we're in, I mean, the best who have never won a major, those guys used to be in their mid-30s. Tom Kite was 42 and was getting the question. Do you get a sense that I don't know if bar is the right word or label is being attached at younger ages than ever before?
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm sure for Victor Hovland to come up here and then be like, when are you going to win a major? It's like, dude, you've been out here for 3 years and like he's won however many times, and like it's going to happen. I mean, it's just one of those things you have to let happen. It's you can't force anything, but I definitely agree that obviously I haven't been out here that long, but the age from when I first came out here of asking guys when they're going to win their first one versus now is quite a bit different.
Mike number 1, please.
I know when guys turn up to a new course on the PGA Tour, they have all this shot link data to look at, and some guys look at packets about what the scoring average is here. Do you look at those? And then obviously this week, when you don't have the luxury of that, how do you learn this golf course in just 2 days, 3 days?
I don't. I think it's I mean, trying to say it as politely as I can, like it's pretty obvious. You know, it's like I've looked at stuff before, and it's like you get to go look at Riviera. They're like 13's a hard hole. It's like, no kidding. Like it's a tough hole. Like I didn't need a piece of paper to tell me that it's a tough hole. It's one of those things. Comfortability is more important than anything. And if you get a situation like 10, it will keep you 10 at Riviera where the percentage play is to go for it. But for me, it's not. I mean, I play that hole 1-2 under basically every single year laying up, and it's just a better fit for me. So I think you just play the golf course and you make of it what you can. And then, you know, I mean, that was huge for me coming Monday last week because these practice rounds can be long and grueling. So for me to make this week a little bit shorter, a little easier, I knew what I needed to practice yesterday when I came out the next 2 days, just makes the prep quite a bit easier.
Come out with like a notebook or like on your phone, or will you have, how do you document it?
I'll write stuff in my book that I feel is important, but nowadays these yardage books are so good that, I mean, there's pictures on them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like Bones has to go out there and like shoot this run out and be like, all right, you see that tree that's like this, it's run out right there. It's like, no, you get a book and you open it up and it's like from the back of the tee, it's 341 through on that tree. And you're like, all right, sweet. I didn't even need to check anything out. So it definitely makes it easier, but anything that I feel is important or something I might forget, I'll write down.
Mike 2.
Justin, for as long as we've all known Tiger, it's always been about the result and winning and whatnot. I'm wondering if you, as being as close as you are to him and having seen the early stages of his recovery, when you look back at him getting through 4 rounds at Augusta plus practice rounds, what kind of an accomplishment just in and of itself do you think that was?
I mean, it was very big. I think he hasn't been shy in sharing it, and it was one of those things. I think it was in the back of his head of like it'd be great, but I don't think he never really knew until it maybe got close. I don't know, but it was awesome. I mean, I was happy for him. I've seen how hard he's worked. I mean, his team's done an unbelievable job making it as easy as they can for him. But at the same time, he's not your normal person. You know, if he needs to put 2-3 sessions a day in to have a potential to be ready a week earlier, he's going to do that. Versus a lot of people are, you know, they maybe don't make it a priority. And it's really, yeah, it's cool to obviously see him there this week and then again here this week.
Rick Fowler, when you see him now and you remember the state that you saw him in when you went and visited him, what were your emotions back then in terms of thinking if he'd ever get back in your mind, you know?
It just wasn't about that. It was just about making sure he's okay, making sure mentally he's okay and his family's okay, and it's just you're a friend. I mean, if you know something happened to one of your closest friends, you would reach out to them and their family and just be like, hey, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here to help out, and just let me know, kind of thing.
Mike 9, please.
Justin, 2 parts or 2 questions, not exactly related. One, how long did it take you to get used to playing Bermuda grass? Because you grew up in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. A long time.
Okay, and then second, do you have any different clubs that you've put in the bag this week?
I don't. I mean, I use a wedge that's generally a little more on the side of Bermuda than, you know, an Open Championship or bent grass. It's just what I've used most of my professional career, so that's an easy adjustment. I mean, Aaron Dill with Vokey's great to where you can go any week and like, hey, it's like this, or I like it chipping, I don't like it out of the bunker. Why do you think that is? And he'll make his adjustments, and I have full trust in all those guys to where if I ask them a question, they can, you know, answer it for me. So I haven't changed anything personally. It's, I mean, last week was Zoyja's about as easy as to chip off as you possibly could think of, but fortunately, you know, I've done a lot of practice at home and been on Bermuda enough to where I feel like I know what it's going to do. It's just about executing it.
How long did it take you to get comfortable?
I couldn't give you a timeline, but I mean, it definitely took through college. I mean, at least 4 years, or no, 2 years. Wow, forgot about that. I only went to college for 2 years, so.
2 more questions, 6, and then we'll go to 10.
Justin, your tweet yesterday about the concession prices, how did you end up noticing that? Is that something that has been maybe a talk around with you guys in the locker room or something?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw it and I was blown away. Sorry, Julius, it was just a bummer. I mean, you want people to want to come to the tournament, and I mean, that's if I'm on the fence and I'm looking at that concession stand, that's not the greatest thing, but at the same time, people aren't like coming to a tournament to necessarily like, oh, I'm going to go buy a Michelob Ultra. You know what I'm saying? So I just was blown away because I've never seen a beer $18 or $19 even in my life. And guys have been talking about it. So I, had to stand up for the fans. I felt it was right.
Final question on 10.
Justin, have you made any significant strategy changes since Bone's on the bag, or have you hit some different shots because he's there and you have different view of anything?
I don't think so. I think they're just maybe he's definitely more aggressive. I think it's that's pretty apparent or easy to understand from past, and he's definitely a lot easier to convince if I want to try something I maybe shouldn't than Jimmy. But I just no, he's been great, and he's so good at adapting and just kind of taking the moment or taking each week for what it is. He treats every week like it's our first week and like, hey, what can I do better this week? And if I feel like he could do something, I tell him, and vice versa. But specific shots, no. He'll do anything and everything possible to make sure that I and we have the best chance to win every single week, which as a player is a really good feeling, having that as your caddy.
Have a great week, Justin.
Thank you.
See you tonight.
What's that?
El nuevo Pro SL no tiene clavos, pero tiene un agarre increíble. Con una plancha de carbono adicional para optimizar el retorno de energía y un nuevo y moderno diseño, el zapato original de máximo rendimiento sin clavos tiene algunas ventajas importantes.